For all the latest community news and events.
103.2 Preston FM.
Your community, your radio.
Nice to welcome back into the studio. We were just saying we are on our third week, we think, of Stoptober, and it's lovely to welcome Telha Rashid into the studio, otherwise known as Mr. T from the NHS Central Lancashire Quit Squad. So lovely to see you again.
Thank you very much for inviting me again.
So if we can move on to, because one of the things that I remember, although it is many years ago since I ever stopped smoking, but I remember one of the things was motivation. So we can move on to motivation. When someone stops smoking, what are the changes that they kind of notice over the first few weeks? Maybe, to the body, maybe to the emotions, etc. Is there a kind of common denominator in the first few weeks once you stop smoking?
Yes, there are quite a few common health benefits that people feel. And one of the most key health benefits is an increase in energy. Because when you smoke, actually within the first 4 seconds of having a cigarette, carbon monoxide starts to reduce your oxygen supply, thus affecting your energy levels. So after 24 hours, carbon monoxide leaves your system. So the good news is you're more or less looking at a reduction in 50% reduction in having a heart attack, just within the first 24 hours again of smoking.
Wow.
The first 20 minutes of having your last cigarette, your blood pressure starts to reduce because it increases by 10-20 points, you could say. So, and also people notice a better sense of taste, better sense of smell. They're walking down the streets and they're thinking, he smokes, they smoke. And they think, did I used to smell like that, etc.,
yes, you
etc.
do, don't you? You do.
Yeah. And everybody's different. Some people find that the circulation to the extremities, the hands, the feet, that improves. So hands and feet are much warmer. People feel better in themselves and a sense of achievement. However, having said that, some people feel a bit down. And one of the reasons why people feel down is because they may not be using nicotine replacement therapy to deal with the withdrawal symptoms. So talking about motivation as well, to help keep you motivated, it is important to use nicotine replacement so that you don't get the withdrawal symptoms. And just to simplify, because time is limited, withdrawal symptoms basically means that you get more stressed. Very simple. Withdrawal symptoms is irritability, concentration affected, mood swings. So when you've got medication, you're preventing or reducing considerably the withdrawal symptoms. So if you feel generally good and then at the same time you're getting the health benefits, as mentioned just earlier, better sense of taste, smell, energy, and so on, then obviously, you stay motivated. And one of the things that we do first inquire when we see our clients is we ask certain questions, and those questions are there to identify how motivated the individual is and how we can motivate them further, and most importantly to make sure and to identify that the individual has come into the Stop Smoking Clinic is giving up smoking because they want to.
So it very much has got to be, there may be people giving you advice, there may be people saying stop smoking, but you really do need to do it for yourself as well as for the benefit of other people around you.
Absolutely. It's just been approximately an hour. I had a young lady come in. She saw me about 2 years ago. She gave up smoking for quite a long time. But as it happens, giving up smoking is difficult. Sometimes you have to give up a few times before you never ever go back to smoking again, or shall we say the chances are very high of going back to smoking. And that was a very similar scenario, that she first gave up smoking because of the fact that everybody's telling her to give up smoking. And everybody is telling them because out of goodwill and a good heart, or it's a health professional, it's a consultant at the hospital saying, look, you need to give up smoking. But what we usually encourage people is that when people give you advice, take it on board, put it to the side for a second, and just think, what are you going to achieve? on a physical level, on a mental level, on a financial level when you give up smoking. And then once people think on those lines, people start to get motivated or think, well, I'm spending, so much amount of pounds in a month or in a week on smoking. Well, if I give up smoking, I'm going to be saving so much money. So that's one holiday, or that's two holidays. For some people, it is two holidays extra. Or it's going to make it easy for them to purchase a car. And many, many other things. So that way, they get more motivated. And motivation for parents, another thing is that sometimes parents are mainly giving up smoking because their children are nagging at them. What I usually say to them, and why I create that awareness in the person, is that if they give up smoking for themselves, and when they have more energy, where's that energy going to go? It's going to go to the children. If they give up smoking and they save more money, where's that money going to go? It's going to go to the children. So by approaching it that way, it makes giving up smoking more easy, because the same individual who gave up smoking, let's say 2-3 years ago, because of the motivation of their children, they usually report that they struggle after 2-3 weeks, and it's because after a bit they think, I want to have my cigarette.
That's right. Yes, I could.
Yeah. So as long as a person is doing it because they want to, and they are thinking about the health benefits before they give up smoking, and they're seen as regularly, they'll stay motivated. And when they feel the health benefits, the psychological health benefits, such as one of them being no longer tied down to a cigarette.
Yes, because that is a biggie, isn't it? That first one in the morning, looking for them around the house, first one when you go out. And I don't know what the cost these days of a packet of cigarettes,
£6 to £7, £8
is that
for
what
20
it is?
a day.
So it really is big money, isn't it? If you're
It's
going
big
to be
money.
cutting down and cutting out.
It's very common where we get a lot of people come into the service after a few weeks of using the service saying, I've saved £300, £400. I've just been on holiday with the money that I've saved. If you're a 20-a-day smoker, you are spending a year well over £2,000.
That is big money, but you could do real good, pleasurable things
Absolutely.
with. It probably, I suppose some people do this, maybe write a list of all those motivating factors that you keep in the kitchen, or you keep so you see them every time that, you have that trigger or that thought in your head that you want a cigarette. Is it the best way to, excuse me, is it the best way to, when you're quitting cigarettes, to do it with some nicotine replacement rather than do it cold turkey?
Absolutely. If you do it with some form of nicotine replacement, some form of medication, it does make it much more easier for you to give up smoking. And doing this job for 7 years, I rarely see withdrawal symptoms. I rarely see it, purely because the individuals that are seen as they're on medication, they're on nicotine replacement, and it's dealing with majority of it. So it makes it much less, it reduces the stress of giving up smoking.
And do people who are on nicotine replacements, do they wean themselves off that replacement, or is it through support like yourself that you get to a point where it's agreed that you don't need that anymore?
Absolutely. Well, nicotine replacement is a 12-week course, because it takes 12 weeks for the nicotine receptors in your brain to switch off. And that simply means that once 12 weeks have passed by where you've not smoked and you've used nicotine replacement, or in some cases even if you've not used medication, but after 12 weeks the cravings do not come because the nicotine receptors are more or less switched off. When we do recommend you products, we usually give you a stronger strength product, then we go for a few weeks, then we go to a medium strength, then we go to a low strength, and we guide you on how to use the product so that people don't overuse these products, because by overusing the oral nicotine replacement products, there can be chances of developing a psychological and a physical addiction to the products. So that's why it's a 12-week course.
So this Stoptober, have you seen many people contacting yourselves and coming along to the clinic?
Yes, absolutely. We have been quite busy, and I think I must say the promotional work being done, whether it's the TV, whether it's posters, is definitely doing its job in social life, when I meet people and when people ask me what I do, and the first thing they say is, you must be busy this month. So that awareness has been created, and a lot of people are coming in, a lot of people are giving up smoking.
And it must be good to see all these people who are making contact and looking towards that kind of support, because of course long term it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win for the individual person, but it's also a win-win for the NHS, who hopefully will not be treating the people for diseases caused by smoking.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that when we see people who have already well-established medical conditions because of smoking, because they've been smoking for quite a number of years, they themselves also report that the blood test results improve, breathing improves, and many other health parameters, cholesterol going down, blood sugar levels, medication need altering. Sometimes you can be on a certain medication and that could be affected slightly. So that's why, for example, if you're on insulin, if you're on warfarin, if you're on thyroxine, when you do give up smoking, we encourage that person that they see their doctor and just make them aware that, look, I'm giving up smoking. If you could just keep an eye on my medication and the levels and blood tests, so that if anything needs changing, the changes can be made.
And sometimes, you do hear older people saying, well, what's the point of giving up smoking now? But there is a point, isn't there? Because as we've just talked, there is that impact from beginning maybe 20 minutes after your last cigarette, if you then don't pick up another cigarette.
Absolutely, and I have come across many people, I've seen many people in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s who have given up smoking and have noticed a significant improvement in their health and quality of life. I remember one specific gentleman, it was actually a nurse, and for a good 40 years, and over the years, when you go to the GP and when this NHS Stop Smoking service, the specialist service wasn't available, he was just more or less told, look, you need to give up smoking, that's it. And but at that time he wasn't ready, he wasn't motivated, so he enjoyed his smoking as well. So when we met, we discussed the behavioural aspects of it, the psychological aspects of it, and ways forward. And one of the things that he actually took up was Tai Chi. I can't say to him, look, go for a jog when you've got advanced COPD.
Yes.
And get some endorphins.
Right. But I said, found an alternative.
So why don't you try Tai Chi? And at that time, one of the NHS services, Tai Chi was offered by one of the physical activity advisors. Not anymore. But actually, because this gentleman was so motivated, he used to go once a week. Then he went for private lessons. He even got the full suit as well. And he emotionally, mentally, he felt so much better. He felt better because he's free from smoking. He tried. We always thought he'd never go back to smoking. There was always that smoke outside, and then before he'd enter in the house, he'd be air freshener, mouth freshener.
Yes.
Make sure that there's no signs that he's been smoking and so on. So there was that aspect because it would create an argument at home. But mentally and physically, he felt so much better. I remember him saying, and this is about 6 years ago, I remember him saying that someone asked me for a cigarette, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't smoke. And he said, when I said this inside, I felt such a high. I felt so good.
Yes.
And at the same time, I remember him walking into the clinic. He was so breathless, but as time went by, his breathlessness had reduced so much. And then he saw that actually it is never too late to give up smoking. No. And it does improve your health, and it does reduce your common chest infections. It does reduce dependency on drugs and so on and so forth. So that's just one example of the many that are out there that I see, that my colleagues see, that other stop smoking advisors see, that is never too late.
And there are so many benefits, aren't there, as we've just talked about this afternoon. It just shows you what a powerful drug it is when it has hold of you. But if you, I still now, if somebody in the street asks me for a light and I say no, I still have that kind of good thought about the fact that I don't smoke anymore. But I also remember, as we started the conversation off, I remember being able to smell smoke on other people and getting to the point where I didn't like it. So the benefits for people who have now given up over the 3 weeks, if we just remind them again of the reasons to stay off the cigarettes.
Absolutely. So one of the key benefits in my personal in my experience over the years, is freedom. You're no longer tied down by it. When you go to places, you're not thinking, right, I need to quickly get my cigarette in because I'm going onto the aeroplane, or I'm going into a non-smoking zone, or I'm going into a restaurant. And because since July 2007 with the stop smoking ban, when that came in, there's so many people coming into the clinic saying, I feel like an alien. I feel like an outcast. I just want to give up smoking. I'm sick of that. And I think that was probably a very busy time for us. So freedom, no longer needing to worry about all these things. Where can you smoke? Can you not smoke? And so on. Much better energy levels. You can sense of taste, sense of smell better. You're saving a lot of money. And at the same time, your circulation to your extremities, so warmer hands and feet. Quite a lot of people need to wear socks because until you don't feel warm enough, you don't go to sleep. So sometimes you don't need to wear socks because your feet are warm now.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's many. And then in terms of social relations at home, because when we were at school, we hardly got any education about smoking and it being bad for you. Whereas over a number of years, a lot of children getting a lot of education about smoking being bad. So it has prevented a lot of people from taking up the habit. So when parents give up smoking, they always get a lot of positive feedback. And quite a lot of parents have this thought in their mind when they're smoking, is that, am I going to be there for my children? And when people give up smoking, when they feel better, they're not worrying about that, and that makes a significant difference.
So to all our listeners out there who've given up smoking, congratulations, and you'll recognise a lot of the things that we're talking about. And if you've not yet done it but you want to, where's the best place that they can go and find out all about the support?
Absolutely, yes. To contact us, there's 2 telephone numbers. There's a free phone number, 0800 328 6297. That's 0800 328 6297. And it is the NHS Quit Squad, just to remind you all. And the landline number, if you are calling from a mobile, is 01772 6444474. That's 01772 6444474. And these are the 2 numbers. The website is www.nhsquitsquad.nhs.uk. That's www.nhsquitsquad.co.uk. Kind of getting a bit confused there, but if you Google that, I'm sure you'll find it.
Brilliant. And
we have clinics in many different locations, many different aspects of Preston, in the Ashton area, in the Brookfield area, in the town centre area, morning, afternoon clinics, evening drop-in clinics. We have a Saturday clinic and a Saturday, if you're working Monday to Friday, for example, every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we have a clinic at Minerva Health Centre. It's a drop-in. You do not require an appointment. You can drop in. And if anyone is keen and is ready, tonight 5 till 7 at Minerva Health Centre, which is just underneath Preston North End Football Club, 5 till 7 in the evening. If you pop in, you do not require an appointment. Pop in, we'll see you, and we'll take you from there.
Lovely. And we are back together next Monday.
That's right.
Maybe some of our listeners will be telling us about that they're going to the Bahamas with the money that they've saved. So Telha will be back
just
with
one
me
thing
next week. Yes, go on.
Sorry, one thing final thing that comes to mind is that when you do give up smoking, keep a jar at home. Whatever money you're saving, put it in there and see it build up.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, Telha, we'll see you next Monday, and I look forward to that.
And likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Made by people like you.
Your community.
Your radio.
Your Preston FM.